you explained it roughly. Just the culture change, really looking at when we came up versus the times now, and just how things have constantly changed. I know you talk to people older, and that their minds are just blown by the idea of a cell phone, or even just smartwatches now. I mean, I remember my cousin showing my grandmother. My grandmother's like in her late 80s, showing her a smartwatch and was telling her, that's a phone. And my grandmother, like, mouth hit the floor, like she couldn't believe it. She was born in, let me see, maybe I'll see. I'm gonna mess up on his math. Octavian, the mathematician. But
Probably
either way,
somewhere
like I say,
around like the 1940s, because in 2040 she'll be 100, so late 80s, probably somewhere in the 1940s.
right. So for her, all the things that have changed, is, what should I say? Is really astronomical. It is really something that she couldn't even imagine or fathom, all the changes that have taken place just in her lifetime. So when you look at the culture change, when she was coming up, at that time, I'm sure that was a big issue of race. My grandmother and her siblings, they're originally from Arkansas, but they migrated to Chicago. And that's because of the black migration, that they were going there, to find jobs, get away from the racist South, as many call it. But it was so much that they had to go through in order to uh, be, in the place or position that they are in today. It wasn't, a smooth transition in the culture. It was a gradual change, and that change came through laws that were put in place that changed the way, the culture and the way that we do things. And that's really what I want to pull out of this is, looking at the culture change, but what is causing this culture change? If you look at now how you have a lot of growing up, I say this, we used to always make fun of people who were, I'll say, like homosexuals. That was a known thing to call somebody, I'll just say the F word, or to say something was or to say something was gay. Like that was something that everybody joked about. But now, saying things like that, it can get you canceled, obviously. But it's just the way the culture shifted, because now, gay marriage is legal. And because it's legal, you see more of it on TV. You had hints of it like back in the 90s, where you would have like one gay person on television. And I'm not saying this to promote or to bash, homosexual culture. I'm saying this to give an example of how the culture has shifted. So now, you can see it in every episode. You can see it in every what else is there? You see it on commercials. You'll have two men hugged up against each other and stuff. It's normal. It's in the culture now. So you see that culture shift just from me and Octavian are in our late 20s. You see that culture shift just from us being young, or even you look at the feminist movement. You have more of women protagonists in movies. So there's so much that is changing in the culture that you won't even be made aware of, because of how what should I say, society, it moves. It actually moves at a rapid pace, but it's gradual when it comes to, changing the laws. So because of this, the effects of it really takes what should I say, a toll on kids that are coming up. And what I mean by that is that when kids grow up in it, they see it as being normal, as opposed to somebody who was younger and seeing this as, this is really different. This is something new. So what the point I'm trying to relate to this. But before I do that, I'm gonna let Octavian give his side, because I know it's something he wants to say. But this is gonna relate to Kingdom, because everything we talk about on here is about Kingdom. But yeah, you can go ahead, Octavian.
Yeah, we try to, all this is about kingdom, but at the end of the day, we living on the earth, so we have to talk about the things that we were in. Ain't nobody been born again their whole life, so you really talk about how you grew up and things of that nature. But I guess I can relate it to kingdom right now, because basically, the kingdom has its own way of doing things. It has its own culture. It has its own behavior patterns and things like that that is set by the laws of the kingdom. And basically, we are in a point right now to where, like, we know Adam fell and all that other stuff. So
But we ain't under the law though.
I'm sorry, you say what, sir?
We not under the law. What you talking
Okay.
about?
I mean, if you're not under the law, don't be under the law. Live your life, do your thing. But being up under the law brings freedom. So, but that's a whole nother topic. But yeah, so the kingdom has its own culture, and that's why Yeshua said when he came, repent for the kingdom is here. So when it comes to bringing the kingdom here to the earth, we know Adam fell, and that's not really the case right now. There's still some stuff that needs to take place. The born again believers, the saints, the ambassadors need to come in and really start, bringing the kingdom of heaven here on the earth and making the kingdom of Elohim. But so we have all this worldly culture and stuff that's going on, and we see it rapidly changing. Sometimes I really, kind of hate only speaking from a US perspective, because a lot of times it's like we make it seem like the US is just the center of the universe. But I mean, that's really all I know. I was born in the US of A. So but yeah, like Derek said, when we was growing up, I mean, my goodness, we're just in our late 20s, and we've seen so much culture change. I can imagine if we make it to 100, you know, 110, 120, how things will change. And like Derek said, when we were growing up, to call something, like our pastor just spoke, and he was like, when he was growing up, if they said, "Hey, you're gay," it just meant you were real, real happy, and he would agree with you, like, "Yeah, I'm happy today," and stuff like that. When we were growing up, when you came to school and your shoes weren't fresh or something like that, or up to the criteria of your fellow peers, they be like, "Man, your shoes messed up. Man, you gay." They just say that to you, and they clowning you. It's like they use it as a derogatory term. But now we're at a time to where, like, the homosexual community is really abounding, and really, really out there. And we see with the different things that are being promoted right now, the celebrities and stuff like that, that the LGBTQ is really, like, protected in today's age. So if you were coming out saying stuff like that now, they would counsel you, basically get you up out of here, basically, some people, they take your career, stop you from making money, all types of stuff. So that culture change is just because, the enemy has a plan, basically. Like, the Father doesn't change. He's the same way today, yesterday, and forevermore. So if we were up under his culture, I mean, how Adam lived is how we would be living. The same things that would be ruling in is the same things that be ruling now. But we see how the culture is changing so much, and that's because the enemy has this plan, to make the world in his likeness and his image. And this whole, man, I don't, the way the world is going, the way everybody basically just doing what they want to do and living how they want to live, is basically in his likeness and image, because that's what he basically said. Like, look, I'm gonna do what I want. I'm gonna be the most high. I'm gonna run this show. I'm not gonna stay in my position, play my role and all that other stuff. I'm gonna do what I feel like it. And that's the way that, we see the cultures and stuff is going now, because, you give your opinion on something, and people will tell you, like, I don't know why you sitting here giving your opinion on somebody who a grown person, or, whether they grown or not, they could be young, and they be like, they human, they could do what they want to do. They have doctrine out here now that's basically saying your children, they're their own people, so you shouldn't be indoctrinating them with stuff to try to paint them in your likeness and image. Let them grow to be their own person and accept the things that they like. But I'm like, well, what am I here for? Just to pay bills for you to eat up all my food, and you do what you want? Nah. So it's so much stuff is changing. That's because the culture is changing. It's so many things that go into culture.